who gets motivated by a passive person? I wouldn't want to play for a passive coach. I want a coach that challenges me, that is into it, that hurts with me, that's getting on a referee when he's just made a bad call or she's made a bad call. That's passion.
Hi.
Hello.
What's up?
5'4 1/2.
Let's go.
I'm ready.
You really only 5'4 1/2?
That's it. And whatever month,
for that.
Whatever month or year, don't ask my weight, COVID weight or post-COVID or pre-COVID.
Do you think the 5'4" contributes to you looking great in suits?
No, actually, I always have to hem them.
Oh, but the color, I mean, the pink one is insane.
Well, you know what? That suit's about 10 years old. Because of COVID, I didn't go buy any new clothes because most of the coaches are wearing warm-ups. Well, I can't break down. The closest I can get to a warm-up during a game is blue jeans. So I've worn a lot of blue jeans this year. And when I packed for San Antonio, I looked in my closet and I grabbed all the spring looking outfits I could grab. And I just happened to grab that one and some shirts to go under it. And so I guess pastel is my look if you ask people in the.
I think so. Wait, so let's actually talk about this. So what are you wearing? Like jeans and a blazer?
This year it's been mostly jeans and like maybe a Baylor pullover and things like that. Yeah.
Do you feel sometimes when I go to work, I work with all dudes. When I go to work in a frilly outfit, I feel weird about it. I feel more comfortable if I'm wearing like a dirty t-shirt and ripped jeans, which looks more like them. So how do you feel when you're like, what outfit puts you at your best for coaching, or do you give a shit?
You know, actually, when I go to work, no makeup, warm-ups at work, and I probably look worse than the rest of them. But yet when it's game time, I don't know. I just feel like that is my professionalism coming out. And I've always, wanted to look professional, I guess. So I'm terrible. If you saw me during the week and, at practices, it's old sloppy warm-ups. In fact, I've worn those same warm-up, the shirt and the top, for the entire year this year.
Do you wash it?
Oh, hell yeah. Well, I'm not going to come
every time, or are you like wearing it twice?
I wash it every day.
No
I'm
way.
not one of these that dries off with a towel and leaves it hanging, because people in their mind think, oh, well, it's not dirty. Hell, I wash clothes every day. Every day.
Do you wash your pajamas every night?
I am anal. I wash when I go home. When I get home from a long road trip, it can be 2 a.m. I'm going to unpack and everything's going to go in its place.
All right. I actually love that. I think that people leave their suitcase sitting around, there's something wrong with them.
Well, they think I'm anal, but and I'm not OCD. I'm just very neat. And that way, when I wake up the next morning, that's one less thing I have to do.
Okay. Is your office at Baylor neat?
I would say yes, but now I'm not into the buying of stuff. Like I can't go and spend time in a store because, one, I don't want to do it, but I like nice things. So friends and family will see something in the store and they'll go, oh, I saw this outfit, girl, I'm gonna drop it off at your house. Now they don't pay for the crap. I end up having to pay for it, of course. They don't look at price tags, but they know my style and they know the modern stuff that's out, and I don't do all that. So they just take good care of me. They make sure I'm not outdated.
I love that. All right. So let's talk about your season. Let's talk about you being the queen of NCAA coaching. Like, what's up this season for Baylor?
Well, I'm not the queen of NCAA coaching.
I would argue with that, Kim.
Well,
but
we've won a lot of championships, of the current coaches and the current programs, excluding Pat Summitt's run at it. We've been respected. We've won 3. We've won 20-something Big 12 championships. And look, man, I have coached some of the greatest players in this game, and I still got a lot of energy. And as long as I'm healthy, I'm going to keep doing this. It's fun.
What made you a great player? You're a championship winner as a player, an assistant coach, and as a head coach, which is very rare. What made you great at each one of those things?
I think growing up, it's internal, your competitiveness. You find something that you're successful at and it just it feels good. And I started playing sports with Dixie Youth Baseball with the boys. And then I played pony league baseball. We didn't have all those travel softball teams and the AAU teams at a young age. And then when I got to high school, it was more AAU basketball. It just made me feel good to compete. I just love to compete, and was able to get a scholarship at the time. I chose Louisiana Tech, and women's basketball was a big deal then, and got talked into coaching. Hell, I wasn't going to do this. My degree's in business administration. I was working on my MBA. I received a postgraduate scholarship from the NCAA after the '84 Olympics, and was sitting in class working on my master's. And the president at the time sent the security, the cops, to come get me out of the class and said, come see him after class is over. And I did. And the man wouldn't take no for an answer. He said, I want you to at least try it for a year. I'm going to give the job to Leon Barmore, and you go be his assistant. And needless to say, that man, bless his dead soul, he knew more about what I needed to be doing than I did. What makes you that way? I think you're born somewhat that way. I think then those you're around. I think I was around great coaches, Leon Barmore, Pat Summitt, Sanja Hogue, and they taught me the details of the game. And then being talked into becoming a coach, and taking what you learn from them and incorporate it into your own personality, and get to work. And man, I surround myself with people that are not yes people. I like to be challenged. I like trust and loyalty, but I like people around me who make me not think outside the box, but keep me young. I've got a mixture on my staff. I've had 3 head coaches on my staff before that were a part of my staff. I've got young, I've got older. I just kind of mix it up to keep me on my toes and keep me alert.
What kind of player do you like to coach?
Well,
like, what's your ideal player?
Well, talent's the first thing, man. I don't care what position you play. If you can ball, let's go do it. I like kids who are respectful. I like kids who are just intense. I like kids who buy into things. Now, that doesn't always happen, and that's hard in recruiting because you have limitations on just exactly how much you can get to know them. But I think kids want to win. I think most kids want to play for championships, and you got to have the right mixture. You can't have 15 on scholarship and they are all Americans, because you can't keep them all happy. So you have to have role players. You have to have several on there that are not only talented, but they accept their roles. You got to have those that understand the game, think like a coach. And then you got to have a staff around you that can pick up the pieces, and whatever my deficiencies are, man, they can pick it up and help me as a coach. And I've had some great coaches. I've had some great players. And as long as I can put a product on that dang floor that's competitive and can help us win, I'll do it.
How do you think the game has changed? And how do you think the game has changed since you were playing or you were an assistant coach?
Well, I can tell you how it's changed since I played. I was on the very first 1982 NCAA team, the very first one. And
how was the weight room?
You know what? We didn't lift weights.
I bet women weren't supposed to lift weights in 1982.
Yeah, back in 1982, you were in a class, and that was your weightlifting. So
yeah, they're like, please be pretty.
Yeah, things have changed. Back to what you originally asked me, how's the game changed? I think 2 things since I played: the 3-point shot, the smaller basketball. Those are the things on the court. And then off the court is, man, you only really had one game that was ever televised, and that was the national championship game. Now you can pick up every game on some network somewhere. And so those are the things that have changed through the years.
Do you think about being a woman at work? I don't think about being a woman at work. People always ask me what it's like to be a woman in my job. And I'm like, I don't fucking think about being a woman ever. But do you think about that? You don't seem like you think about it.
Erika, I am as comfortable in a room of the biggest jock males you ever been around. You got to remember, I grew up playing sports in that dugout, all stars, as a baseball player. And I'm as comfortable there, and I make them comfortable by who I am. I don't try to be somebody I'm not. I have a son and a daughter, and my daughter's friends would tell you growing up, she can be as dainty and as girly, but then on the other side, she's got this intense passion that she'll look at your ass in a minute and put you in your place. So I'm just real, is what my players like to say. You're the most real person I've ever been around, Coach. And sometimes people can't handle that. How
do you deal when they can't handle that? You seem very blunt. Like,
and
how
don't you want people to?
I like bluntness. I would rather you be blunt with me all day long.
I think bluntness is be truthful. And I was coached by people that were blunt. And while you might say, well, man, I remember that. What it did is it motivated me. It didn't crush me. There's a difference with being blunt and being a person that belittles somebody. If you're blunt, you're blunt. And it's we like to say in growing up, put your big girl panties on and deal with it. You know, and that's kind of the way I did when I got shooed off of that Dixie Youth field because I was a girl, tears streaming down my face. That hurt. And I didn't understand it and thought it was wrong at the time, but I handled it in such a way that it was later taken care of. I couldn't, as a 12-year-old, take care of that. So you set examples throughout your life to help both young people, females, and just speak the truth. Because if you speak the truth, you don't have to worry every night, well, who did I tell a lie to?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think one thing that's so shocking about you in a funny way, and I think the fact that it's shocking is wrong, is how much emotion you have on the court, and how I think there's this like perception that women should be restrained. And even in your profession, which I think is kind of a genderless profession because it's just majority men, but I like your spice. I think that you have a lot of energy, and I think you seem to have very little ability to contain yourself. But how do you think about that? Like, do you in retrospect see how pioneering you are just by virtue of who you are? Like, how do you think about that?
Well, I think it goes back to passion. You know, I'm 5'4.5", and I needed to be the little general on that floor, and I needed to direct people and point. I needed to be the coach on the floor. So you're brought up playing a position that's the quarterback on the court. Just like in football, you can't have a passive quarterback that is not, you know, altering plays at the line of scrimmage, is not telling them in the huddle what to do. And so it just carries over to your coaching. You are passionate about something, those kids feel it. Most of the time when you see me excited on the floor, who gets motivated by a passive person? I wouldn't want to play for a passive coach. I want a coach that challenges me, that is into it, that hurts with me, that's getting on a referee when he's just made a bad call or she's made a bad call. That's passion. It is a controlled passion. Some people may not agree with that, but it's a internal passion that when I can't do it anymore, I need to step away. Physically, I'm able to pump my fist. Physically, I'm able to you know, high five kids and chest bump them, and that keeps me young, and it also sends a message to those young people. Hey, the time has not passed me by.
Yeah, I love that. I'm like, you're like my spirit animal today. I'm like buying everything you're selling right now. All right, so let's talk about the bubble. Let's talk about the weight room and the COVID tests and the food. Like, does that piss you off? Are you like, hey, we've come a long way, baby? Like, where are you on this?
I'm a female. I have two eyes. I can look and I can see. I can write things down. I can observe things. And I'm taking notes. I am here to try to win a national championship first. And if I get involved in any of that right now, I'm cheating my players, and I'm cheating Baylor University, who pays me to win championships. That is what I'm doing. But please don't misunderstand that because I have not made statements like a lot of coaches, that I'm ignoring it. I will not ignore it. You're talking to a little.
This is back to 12-year-old baseball.
You got that right.
Yeah, this is 12-year-old baseball right now.
And I've lived a life that can tell a lot of stories. Erika, I lived through integration when the whole world took off and went to private schools and opened all the private schools. Little Kim Mulkey was getting on that bus being sent to this school for second grade, this school for third grade. So my life's experiences, good or bad, have taught me how to absorb, watch, look, and see. And then I think the only fair thing for me to do, just like we're doing, is to have a one-on-one conversation and start at the top.
Mhm.
And you can rest assured, I'm going to have that conversation, and I'm going to start, Erika, with women first that work at the NCAA office. You are there to represent, to fight, to do all those things. And I've got some detailed questions that I'm going to ask. And some of those questions have been asked publicly, and but I've got more detailed ones because, see, I believe the only fair thing for me to do before I make a comment is to do my own work, my own investigation, and my own questioning. And I don't jump on board on anything until I know. And usually this is what is interesting. Usually when I make a statement, it's blunt. I don't say it politically correct. But what people don't understand is I've done my homework.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't have to agree with me, but I've done my homework.
Yeah.
And that's where I stand today. I'm grateful for everything that we have. But I'm also a fighter.
Yeah, I agree. I respect that. I think that there's so often that people judge the book by the cover and they don't actually read the book, which just makes for like an aggravating argument. If I were those women, if I was running the NCAA and I knew you were gunning for me, I'd be scared shitless. So like that, I would make that statement about you. You're like a freight train. But
I want the truth, Erika, and I don't want to embarrass them. I don't want to cost them their jobs. I've been in situations where I've been attacked by the media and by statements that I've made. But you got to stand for something in life or you'll fall for anything. But I'm going to do my own investigation and my own work. And then I will be able to have a picture of, okay, this has got to be fixed. This person's got to be held accountable. And right now, I'm going to start with the women when I do start making those phone calls that work at the NCAA.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think that it seems, I think one of the things that you would describe your coaching career as, and even your playing career, is substantive. And that's part of doing your research, being present, being ready to take on things. I think so much of what happens and plays out in the media is not substantive. And that's what really rings true and has any legacy to it. When you think about your legacy as a player and as a coach, what do you want that to be?
I don't know. I don't.
Are you so in it? You're like, fuck what everybody's going to say after I'm done. Well,
everybody's, it's like belly buttons. Everybody's got an opinion. That's what I say. Opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody's got one. What I hope, and I don't know what they'll say. What I hope the people that were in my program, that worked for me, that played for me, the administrators, is the woman did things right. The woman was always prepared. The woman won. The woman, I just want to be judged by, was I a good person?
Yeah, the merit.
Was I a good person? Did I do things right? And did you win? And, all the other things, whether it's political, whether it's whatever, that's what makes the world go round. We all have different opinions on all those things, but real, I want them to say, she's honest. We might not like her honesty sometimes, but her heart is in the right place and she's honest. She has no agenda.
Kim, what would you say? We have a lot of people, we don't have a lot of NCAA basketball players who listen to this, I wouldn't say, but we do have a lot of women who are trying to make it in business and trying to make it in their career and trying to get up the ladder. And what would your advice be to them?
Well, Erika, you're as good at helping with this as I am. My degree was in business administration, and I was working on that MBA, and I wanted to fly all over the country and be a CEO of companies. Never thought I'd be a coach. Never envisioned being a coach. And you started out with what, Fidelity. So you know the business world. The business world is not as different as people think it is from athletics. It's just not. If you're a competitor, man, you want to get that account, man, you want to get that client, and you want to climb that corporate ladder, but you want to climb it in such a way that you're climbing it the right way. Hell, we know a lot of people that climb ladders for doing a lot of things that are just not morally correct. But climb it the right way. Just do your work your ass off, and you'll be rewarded. I believe that. I grew up, parents, neither one of them went to college. Hell, they didn't even sign my report card. They didn't know if I made an A, a B, or a C. They just had enough belief in me that she's like a little grown woman here, and she can, she does her stuff right. And I would tell the people that want to be the CEOs of companies, go look at how many female CEOs there are now across this country. That it's no different. Just be a competitor. Just look and say, who is my role model in my profession? And I want to be where that person is someday. Well, if that person can do it, why can't I do it? And have the confidence to go do it.
Were you a good practice player, or were you a game player? What kind of player were you? I would say
I learned to be a better practice player. When you first get to college, you think you're all that.
Yeah.
And then you realize, well, hell, I didn't have to work this hard in high school on defense, or I didn't have to work this hard every day, and the intensity. You learn it, and then you teach it. Freshman year is just, Lord, it's the toughest year of kids' lives.
Yeah, it's the worst. Yeah.
And even if you weren't an athlete, your freshman year in
worst
college,
regardless.
yes,
it's a kick in the ass for sure.
It is. You're homesick. You're learning how to wake yourself up. Nobody's cooking for you. It's tough. And then about your sophomore year, you figure it all out. Everything seems to start falling into place.
So speaking of sophomore year, how do you deal with the sophomore slump? What do you do with your players when they get into the slump? Do you ever get into a slump? How do you think about that?
Honestly, I have found with my program, we don't get into the sophomore slump. They get better because their freshman year is kind of really low for them. They hit rock bottom some. So now the summer between their freshman and sophomore year, they have okay, I'm going to get ahead of
I'm going to work.
Yes, I'm going to get in the weight room. I'm going to lose some weight. I'm going to gain some weight. I'm going to do all those things that I had no clue about when I first got here as a freshman. And I find that their sophomore year is when they really turn the corner. What happens probably on the slump is when you just about get to that senior year, you get a little bit of, I know it all. I'm getting tired of the coach. So you probably don't work as hard.
Yeah.
So I have to challenge those upperclassmen, sometimes and shake them a little bit to say, all right, you're getting senioritis here on me.
You get a case of the yeahs, and then there's this hot shot freshman that shows up that runs twice as fast as you. And
there you go.
Yeah. So talk to me about the tournament. What's ahead for Baylor? How you feeling about it? What's next?
Well, we got Michigan, and I just have so much respect for their coach. I really, really like her. She was at our place. First and second rounds are usually held on our campus, and 2 years ago, it was during Easter, and she has children, and I gave her children Easter baskets.
Wow.
So we get a good laugh about that, but she's just really a good coach, and her teams play the way you want all teams to play. They play hard. My team is just playing really motivated. They're really excited. We're going to guard you. We're going to rebound. I can't tell you we're going to be the greatest offensive team every night, but if they can put together, some more games here like they did the first two games, it's going to be fun to see how far we can go.
Awesome. I wish you the best of luck, Kim. It is an honor to connect with you. Thank you for doing this.
Hey, Erika, I'm not a social media person. I do have accounts. My coaches are in charge of it, but I got to tell you this quick story. My son plays for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay.
So he's gonna, he's in AAA. He's just right there, and he keeps up with everything. And when you asked my media relations person to do this interview, I was like, no, I don't want to get crucified out there. I said, I don't know what would, just let me do my normal press conferences. And he said, just trust me on this. Ask your son Kramer. So I text Kramer, and he didn't just answer me. He called me. He's at spring training right now, and he's got these, St. Louis Cardinals, major leaguers all around him. And I'll tell you exactly what he said. He said, yeah, you're going to do that interview. Are you kidding me? And then he started rattling off y'all's names. Okay. Well, then later in the night, he had a meet on a group text with all these young college guys that played college athletics. So don't count yourself short when you say college athletes are not keeping up with you, because I promise you they are. They keep me abreast of what I need to do. And he said, Mom, show her your comedy side. And I said, Kramer, I don't know her that well. He goes, tell her that's the one thing people don't know about you, is you could be a stand-up comic. And he said, Mom, you're hysterical. Your players say you are nothing like people think you are. And I said, yeah, but you see, we don't tell that out in public because that's my competitive advantage. So you're loved. A bunch of young kids follow you. I mean, they're blowing my phone up now. When is she going to get out? When is it going to be aired? So keep doing what y'all are doing. And hopefully you'll holler back at me if we win this thing.
I'm going to holler back at you, Kim.
And holler back at me anytime. But I promise you, I will follow up. My word is my bond, just like my eyeballs. When I look you in the eye and I shake your hand, you can take it to the bank.
Take it to the bank. Thank you, Kim, so much.
Erika, be good. Take care.
I will. Bye. By everything that I have read to you, there will be many, many statues in your honor. You've been the coach of the Terps for 19 years, if I'm correct on that. So give us a sense of, you've been at the top of the coaching heap for a long time now. How have you seen women's basketball, the NCAA tournament, your career change in the last 20 years, your coaching career change in the last 20 years, and the sport?
Yeah, well, I mean, I first could probably start when I was a player at Arizona. I was scouting and I saw La Tech just last night, and they were still in their uniforms with the sleeves. And I had a flashback how, really it was only like the Final Four games that were on national television back when I was a player at Arizona that you got to watch and kind of have that vision, as a young girl. And, goodness gracious, you fast forward to 2021, and now our team and our program and women's basketball is on a national scale. I mean, you're on Big Monday on, national scale on ESPN. Your games are televised. Every game you can find on the internet and, social media as well. I mean, you can, you just have a pulse on what everybody is doing, in the country. And so it's exciting for young girls to kind of have that vision and that dream growing up that this is something that they can aspire to be.
And how do you feel, what's been your secret to success over the last almost 20 years? Like, you've coached innumerable girls, you've had powerhouse teams, you are a champion in your own right. What's been your secret to success, do you think?
Well, I think, first I would credit my parents. And, I think it's really important that when, you're authentic to yourself. I think sometimes people become head coaches and think they need to be, like the person that mentored or modeled them. And, for me, the way I was raised, it was always about, the humility and the work ethic. And so, I worked really, really hard. I mean, that's a living example I had with both of my parents and raising us 6 kids that they had and working 2 jobs. And then, just, staying humble. And I think the relationship piece, you have to be able to have really strong relationships with your players, with your coaches, with your staff members. Those are some really key pieces, I think, when you're talking about a big picture of a program.
Yeah, I love that. That really speaks to me. I felt that when I got my first CEO job, this job, everyone was like, oh, you should act different now. Like you should dress up, you should sit up straighter, you should say the F word less, like you should just like, and I'm like, you know what, like I'm me. And I think that I can be successful and still be myself. And I think that's really, you know, everything I see about you and watching you, you feel very real yourself. I think your energy is real. Your passion is real. The mentorship you have for the team around you and your coaching staff is, to me, feels really distinct. I read something that you really love to give, you know, unproven talent a chance, which I'd love for you to talk to, where you'll give a great intern a rise to the top because he or she, you know, really earned it. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. You know, I'm really fortunate, you know, first I'll say, you know, and loyal to, you know, the people in our program, and, you know, they're young budding stars that, you know, come through our program. So I think you could look at, you know, at our staff and our support staff. I mean, I could give you countless examples. We have our video coordinator who came in as a manager, you know, and worked his way through different positions in our program, and now heads our video and does just an incredible job, Joe Glowacki. My director of basketball operations, Libby Ellis, she came to camp and, you know, then came into Maryland, was a manager as well, came into our recruiting operations as a staff member after she graduated, and now is our director of basketball operations. And we've had scout guys, you know, same thing, that have, you know, then graduated on. So I'm very loyal to, you know, giving young people a chance. I have two young assistants that are under the age of 30. And, you know, again, they're Maryland girls, grew up with relationships. Lindsay Spann coming to camp. You know, Caitlin Frotz, you know, is from Maryland, bleeds Maryland. We had a connection through that. So I'm not, you know, I love it. Young people that are passionate about Maryland and this program, you know, have the same, you know, values that I have with work ethic and passion.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that one of the greatest things ever said about coaching is that it's not about the sport. It's that you are helping to raise, you know, young men, or in your case, young women, and really both. And I think that that's true here too at Barstool Sports, is we have a lot of young people. They're at a really interesting stage of their life. They're at interesting stages of their career. They have passion. And it's like, if you can harness that and help lift people up, I think the outcome is really incredible. Brenna, the other thing I wanted to talk about is you also have a very, I would describe you as radically transparent, which I also think is unique. And it's, I think, part and parcel with being authentic in a position of power, is that, you know, your practices are open. You're very open to the media. Give a little bit of a sense of your philosophy around just transparency and how that's worked for you and how that's worked for the program.
Yeah, you know, extremely well. I mean, I don't understand why people don't give all access. You know, at a really young time in my career, I had my sister, who's 2 years younger than me, was, you know, a sports anchor and with television, and just really wired me of that side of the media, that, you know, the media is not there to, you know, hurt you or harm you. They're there to tell your story. And, you know, I can't get out and speak to 10,000 people with my kind of time, but, you know, with a piece that is on television, is in the print, is on social media, I can get into so many households. And I think we have a lot of great things to be able to share, you know, about this team and this program. And so I am very pro anything, you know, access and social media that you can get a feel and a sense of who we are and what our program's all about.
And how do you, so obviously there's a whole lot of drama right now with the NCAA. Congress is now getting involved. There's a lot of Title IX questions. Mark Emmert is on this hot seat for a whole number of reasons. Like, how do you, you know, I think one of the things that is great about what's happening in women's sports and in women's basketball really is I think the shining star from a WNBA perspective, and certainly a college perspective, of there has been a lot of progress over the last 20 years. Is there enough? Like, fuck no. But tell me how are you seeing what's happening? Because you're kind of in the eye of the storm. Like, your team is not using the weight room or using the weight room. So how do you see what's happening? How is that manifesting in the bubble, and how are you reacting to it, managing it, responding to it, whatnot?
Yeah. My philosophy is, there's always a lot more information that we're not privy to. So I think you have to understand that. And just, we're grateful, obviously, to be playing. And I think, as a woman, we're always used to kind of seconds and, being behind. So I am proud of the fact that, these discrepancies have been, layered and put out there. There's a more global issue. You could talk about women doing the same job and making 70 cents on the dollar. And, it was 50 cents 40 years ago. So have we moved the needle? We have, but have we done it enough? 40 years? I mean, how long is it going to take us to be equal for our genders? So much pressing issues. I mean, it's a delicate balance, because for us, I also don't want to get caught up in the noise, because we're not using the weight room. We're right now, focused on ourselves in the next game. And so, it's also a delicate balance. You can get caught up in too much of that and lose your distraction of what you're here for.
Yeah. How do you manage that? It's interesting. I think one of the most interesting things to happen as a result of this is that the story has really been broadcast from the players. When you look at, I think Sedona is the #1 reporter on the weight room and food situation. How do you keep your team focused, and how do you keep the noise? How do you keep the noise out of your team? How do you as a head coach manage that?
Yeah, we're open and honest, and we talk about it. But like you said, Sedona has already kind of taken that charge. So that's great. Let Sedona take that charge, and obviously we agree with it. But at the same point, we're focused on winning basketball games so we can continue to stay in this bubble and advance to the next round. But no question, I mean, as there's been big issues, throughout this entire pandemic, we've always, had a safe space and been able to have great conversations.
That's great. And you guys are playing, you're playing your heads off. I think you had 99 points in which game was that? You're averaging 99 points. So,
Right.
which is, I would imagine there's nobody else, a men's team or a women's team, averaging 99 points. Do you know that?
I don't. I just know that we're playing really, really good basketball right now that, we don't want to end. We're on a 15-game win streak that, it's been a very dominating win streak, about plus 30 through this stretch. So, we're clicking at the right time, and, just wanting to be able to continue on, through this tournament.
How do you not get complacent and arrogant? Like, you've been doing this for 19 years. You're awesome at it. Your team's crushing it. Like, are you doing the Bill Belichick, like everybody hates you and they're out to get you and they say you're going to lose the next game? Or how do you keep that edge when you're having so much success?
Yeah, I have a highly, highly competitive team, to the point, even practices, we have to be delicate of how we create the practices. They're so competitive in everything. So it's easy. I can find a nugget here and there that, they latch on to, if there is, different things out there that we can talk about. But at the end of the day, this group, I can call a timeout, and if we're having a lull in a 4-minute stretch, it's really easy to tune this group right back in.
That's great. I love that. I play tennis with a friend, and we play with this lady, which nobody cares about this story, but the coach is always like, we have to play 5 minutes of nice tennis where you can't try to just completely take somebody's head off with the ball. I hate that 5 minutes. Like, it's the biggest waste of time ever. It's like, if we're not counting points and if I can't take somebody's head off, I don't even know why I'm here. But sounds like your team is like that too.
Yeah, that wouldn't work for us. So
yeah.
we wouldn't be able to do those.
You're not doing nice drill. And what do you see ahead in the tournament? So talk a little bit about your schedule. You have a big game on this will air Tuesday. So you've had a big game Sunday night. What do you see? Like, who do you think the threats are? Who's formidable? What's in your head about the tournament?
Well, everyone is a great opponent at this time. I mean, when you're in a Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, national championship game. It's the best of the best. And we know that, and we recognize that. So anyone can beat anyone. It's the next 40 minutes. You have to be able to play your best basketball. So, I think the reassuring thing is just the mindset of where this team is at. I know they're going to come out and pour their heart and their soul into the game, and whatever happens, happens. But I love where our mindset is. There's no motivating. This team has unbelievable chemistry. They're really focused and on a mission. So it's comforting as a head coach, as a leader, to know that your team's going to show up. Your team's going to lay, and give the best 40-minute effort they can give.
That's awesome. I wish you the best of luck, Brenda. You are such an inspiration. I'm excited for the rest of the tournament, and I really appreciate you coming on and giving us some of your time.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Erika, for having me, and really appreciate it.
We run a real informal process around here, Sedona. So you are my spirit animal of the entire NCAA tournament. I think you are so fucking great.
Thank you.
You are awesome. Your energy is awesome. TikTok was made for you. You are just a delight. So give people who don't know who you are, where you come from, what makes you tick, give them a sense of who you are.
So I am a 6'7" gay woman I'm 20 years old. I'm from Austin, Texas, but I go to school in the University of Oregon, and I play basketball there. I've had a lot of struggles with my leg and stuff. I broke it my freshman year, and that kind of just pushed me to get out of my comfort zone and start making videos online. And now I have a huge following, just doing goofy things and trying to be my funniest and inspire people. And then it blew up over the last couple of weeks because I, exposed NCAA.
Yeah.
Yeah, exposed the NCAA and their unfairness towards women and how they treat women in sports. And now I have even bigger following and a bigger platform.
How many followers did you gain?
About 500,000 on TikTok, about 150,000 on Instagram, and almost 30,000 on Twitter. So every social just blew up, which is crazy because it's not big for followers for me. It's just how I can spread my message and help people. And so it's pretty cool to have a bigger platform.
It's amazing. I mean, you forget going into your DMs. Your DMs must be like a dumpster fire or like a gold mine.
Yeah, all the brands are reaching out to me, and I'm like, I can't respond because I'm still an NCAA athlete. There's still rules.
1 year, one state short.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's
I know. Yeah, but it's okay. Once I graduate, I'll have it.
Okay, so I'll tell you why I'm obsessed with you. I think you're just amazing. I think your energy is amazing. I think you are such a natural storyteller. Your exuberance is your humor and exuberance is just contagious. And I think it comes through. And I really loved how you became the whistleblower and the story and the SNL skit and late night television of the entire NCAA debacle. You did that so effortlessly. Do you think it's because you've had so much practice? How did that come together for you?
Yeah. So before I came into the tournament, I was like, I really just want to document how the process is, because I knew that a lot of athletes were going to do that, but I've always been good at documenting and telling my story and doing it effectively and getting the point across as best as I can. And so I was like, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to be funny. I'm going to show my personality. This is how I'm going to optimize, kind of the publicity at NCAA. I'm going to spread light on the women's tournament as well. And then when all this stuff came out about the weight room and stuff, I was like, man, this is not right. And so I made a video, not even thinking anything of it. And I tweeted it out as well because TikTok, it wasn't doing very well on TikTok. Yep. And I was like, let me just tweet it out because Twitter's good at that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then I woke up
real time for people who are angry.
Yeah. And I woke up with 110,000 retweets and I was like, okay, let's go. And so then I just kept every post, everyone was like, oh, just keep going. And so I was like, all right, I just keep showing details and the COVID testing and every little detail people were just obsessed with. So it became pretty cool.
And what did your coaches and your teammates say? Were they for you? Or are they oh, you're an attention hog? What are they saying?
No, they were, I remember talking to my coach and he was like, hey, like, I'm so proud of you. Like, keep pushing. Your voice is so powerful. And all my teammates were like into it. They would like help me they wanted to be a part of my TikToks. And so we would like taste test food together and we would goof around. And I remember when I hit 1 million, I came into the film room and I was the last person in there, and they all had they had congrats balloons up and they bought cupcakes. And so,
You're
yeah.
an
And so
influencer.
yeah, so they were so happy for me because like it's been a long journey, and so they're really proud of me for like using my voice and doing the best I can.
Oh, I thought you did such an amazing job. You know what else? I just couldn't stop watching you. And I think, like I've gotten into it with like the women's hockey set. Like I think it's creating visibility and conversation can provoke change, right? Everybody knows that. I think that, and it's what I think you have a unique way about you though, is that you showcased a pretty major injustice. Like it was egregious. The weight room was fucking insulting. The food was embarrassing, I would say at best. The COVID test is just like rude, but you did it in a way where you weren't harping and negative. You were still Sedona. Like I still felt like you were positive and bubbly and raised a lot of questions from which people drove their own conclusions. And I think you have such a future in that. Like, do you think about your future after you're playing? Like, do you think about yourself as a broadcaster? I think you're a broadcaster.
Thank you. Yeah. I think my kind of mentality going into it was, so I made a video before that weight room TikTok, and I was like kind of angry about it, and I was like, look how ridiculous this is. This is unfair. This is not how it's supposed to be. And then I went through the whole practice. I'm like, I'm not going to post it. I'm going to wait. I'm going to cool down a little bit.
Good
and
job.
I went through the whole practice. Yeah. And I was like, let me come at it from more of like a reporter standing on it, like, let me just show what's going on and let people take their own opinions from that, and then open the conversation more and not really like start it and fuel it and just be more angry about it, which would just shut people's minds off.
Yeah,
and
I
so
think
that's really, like,
right.
Yeah. I try to come from that standpoint of just like, hey, this is what's going on. Now talk about it. So yeah.
I totally agree. I think that what people get wrong on Twitter in particular, it's interesting that it took off on Twitter, not on TikTok, because your other stuff really takes off on TikTok, is that the conclusion you draw becomes the thing that people react to, versus what I think you did very well is the fact that you didn't have the condemnation it was condemning. It was a damning video, but the fact that you left it open, I think allowed it to travel much further, because then the conversation would have been about you and your opinion versus the fact that the NCAA is saying that there isn't enough room for a weight room and you're basically in a cavern the size of Texas with nothing in there. So has anyone from the NCAA reached out?
I talked to the head of the NCAA when I was at the tournament. My coach introduced us, and she was just like, hey, like, you did an amazing job. Like, we're going to keep working on this stuff. And I was like, it was amazing. The response that they had to it was what we needed. They apologized and they fixed it literally the next day. They fixed it in a matter of like 5 or 6 hours. They built a weight room, which is what we needed.
I thought it looked like a W hotel weight room. I didn't think it was that great. But
yeah, it looked a little bit like homecoming, like a prom
for
set.
sure, with like the blue light coming up the curtain. I'm like, how about just have more fucking weights? They don't need curtains and like ambient lighting. It's not like you want to feel romantic when you're lifting weights.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like showy, but it was all good. Like it was in good intentions, and they just wanted to give it to us and kind of quiet the media a little bit, but it worked. And yeah, that was the only response we were hoping for, was just to not even say sorry, just to provide action and to say, hey, we apologize. We see the mistakes we made. We built the weight room, and now we're not going to do it in the future for future generations at the NCAA. So that's all we wanted, and it worked.
That's amazing. And so what's next for you?
Taking a little break for sure. Okay. It's been a crazy couple weeks, but I got invited to AmeriCup USA trials, and so I might go do that and just continue playing basketball and telling my story, and then back to Oregon for training and getting ready. Are you
going to get an agent? What are you going to do?
I can't get an agent under NCAA rules until I graduate, but yeah, so just gonna keep working.
Womp.
I know. Can't be professional yet, but gonna keep doing stuff. And I'm
your Powerade influencer kit.
Yeah, and I'm actually I'm suing the NCAA right now for a different reason. So I'm going to continue doing that. So
Okay,
a lot
what
of
are
stuff.
you doing them for?
For athlete compensation. It's for like the NIL. So like I can't make money off my name, image, and likeness. And so I'm suing them to pretty much say that like athletes should be able to make money off of, let's say, my TikTok, for instance. Like I should be able to get sponsorships and show a product in a video and then make money off of that. Or even like make merch and make t-shirts with my name on it and sell that. And then make money, because that's the brand I've built is so big and it deserves to be, monetized off of.
It also is your brand is, so we've talked about that here. And I agree. I think this is, look, I think the NCAA is almost a predatory operation. First of all, you must have saw that your coach must have introduced you, and this lady was like, thanks for blowing up my spot and like suing my ass. That would have been funny. So, and you must have been so much taller than her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you like towering over her? Like, I will kill you. I doubt you said that. You seem much nicer than me. But wait, so that's interesting, because to be honest with you, your following is so massive. I mean, that's a multi-million-dollar annual business that you have in your phone, which has very little to do, frankly, with your basketball ability.
Mm-hmm.
And think of all the people who are just interested in your perspective on the world, and you can't do that just because you play basketball. At collegiate level. That's ridiculous. Okay, are you part of a class action, or are you doing this by yourself?
It's class action. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's exciting. What else you got going
Oh,
on?
that's pretty much it. Maybe one day in the future. I think I'll just stick to being a kid for now. I like just fishing and, hanging out with friends and stuff. It's pretty fun, but yeah.
And do you go back to Texas when you're not in Oregon or playing hoops?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in Texas right now. So I live like right outside of Austin. So I've just been chill here. I think I'm going downtown in a little bit and, just hanging out, just being a kid again.
Have you ever been to a Torchy's?
Oh my goodness. Have I ever been to a Torchy's? Come
so
on.
Good, right?
You know what my order is?
No, what's your order?
Trashy trailer park. I get 3 of them. It's like the one with the fried chicken and queso in it. Oh,
do you know about the secret menu though? Oh, there's a whole secret menu.
I'm gonna have to go there today.
Yeah, go today and be like, I'm Sedona and I'm famous. What's your secret menu? You could at least probably get like a free taco out of it. All right. On that note, have a great lunch. And thanks for doing this. I'm rooting for you. I think you're awesome.
Thank you
are just an awesome person. So I'm just excited for what you're going to do.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate, talking to you and being on. It means a lot to me.
All right, cool. We'll see you later, Sedona.
Awesome. See you later. Bye.
Bye.